Happy Monday, everybody. Okay, I'm actually going to do a series starting today for the next couple weeks, and we're going to review some economic principles as well as unintended consequences. So, we're going to start with what we refer to as the cobra effect. Now, some of you may be familiar with this story and the principle behind it, but here it is. It's great. It's classic government bureaucrats making brilliant decisions that have horrible consequences. So let's go back into history when Great Britain had the largest empire in the world, right? And they controlled India. Well, the British felt that there was a problem with the cobra population, the cobra snake population. They're venomous, extremely venomous, and they were wreaking havoc. So they wanted to get rid of the cobra and shrink the population. So here's the brilliant idea. We'll just have the locals kill the cobras, hunt them down, kill them, and turn in the dead cobras, and we'll give them a financial reward. We'll let them do the work for us and we'll pay them for it. Great idea. Well, they announced it, and the locals were pretty happy with it, and they started taking advantage of it. And it started working. Locals started bringing in dead cobra snakes and getting paid for it. And they started bringing in even more dead cobra snakes and getting paid even more for it. And then before you know it, these locals are bringing in massive amounts of dead cobras and getting rich off of it, and yet the cobra population isn't shrinking out in the wilderness. So it didn't take too long before the government started putting two and two together and realized that the locals weren't going out hunting cobras. They would go out and catch two of them, breed them, and make a bunch of baby cobras, and then turn those turn those cobras into the government and get paid. So they were breeding cobras and getting paid for it. Well, the government put this together, and they said, well, we can't have this. Enough's enough. So they said, no more. We're going to stop paying all these locals for these cobras because they're just gaming the system. We'll show them. So they cut off the reward, the financial reward. So the locals just kind of shrugged their shoulders and said, okay. But then the locals had all these cobra snakes that they had to figure out what to do with. They didn't want them around their house, so they just tossed them out into the woods. So the end result is that the cobra population was massively more than when it had started because of this financial incentive that the government thought was going to uh, solve a problem. It actually made it worse. All right, so that's what we call a cobra effect. Now, with that, now next week I'm going to talk about an unintended consequence that's come about from government policy that the end result was actually worse than the original. But in the meantime, I'd love if you could sit back, and you can probably start thinking of ideas and making a list much longer even than I can. So, yeah, until then, make up your own list of these unintended consequences, and we'll see you next week.